You lie down to rest, but you bring the whole noisy world into your mind. Not an urgent email, not breaking news, just one more video, then one more article, then a few more minutes that you tell yourself is just a little. Many people don't lose sleep because of daytime stress. They lose sleep because of the last 30 minutes before bed that they never take seriously. Your body is tired, but your mind keeps running. You put the phone down, close your eyes, and start tossing and turning. Not because you aren't sleepy, but because your brain was never allowed to land. The next morning, you wake up with a heavy head, not sharp pain, just not restored. A new day begins with the energy of someone who never fully rested. You wonder why you always feel low on energy, even when you didn't do that much. Why coffee doesn't work anymore. Why motivation comes and goes so quickly. Here's the truth. You're not lacking discipline. You're not weak. And you're not lazy. You're simply sabotaging your sleep every night with a habit so familiar you no longer notice how much it's taking from you. Not loudly, not immediately, but consistently. We usually think sleep begins when we close our eyes, but that's only the final step of a much longer process. The truth is this: sleep doesn't begin when you close your eyes. It begins with how you live the 30 minutes before that. Blue light from screens doesn't just tire your eyes. It sends a very clear signal to the brain. It's still daytime. With just a few minutes of exposure, melatonin, the hormone that signals rest, can drop by nearly half. Your brain doesn't understand that you're lying in bed. It only knows that it's not time to slow down yet. And it's not just the light. The content on your phone, news, social media, even light entertainment, activates alertness, comparison, judgment, reaction. Your body lies still, but your nervous system is still on watch. For the Stoics, sleep was never a passive break. It was a state that had to be protected deliberately. They understood that if you want the mind to settle at night, you must guide it to slow down beforehand. You can't force it to stop abruptly. So the mindset shift is this: you're not bad at sleeping, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're simply pulling your nervous system in the wrong direction right before the exact moment it needs to cool down. There's a common misunderstanding about fatigue. We assume that when the body is tired, the brain will rest automatically. But the brain doesn't work that way. It doesn't care how long you worked. It responds only to signals. And light and stimulating content are the two strongest signals that keep the brain alert, even when you're already in bed. The screen lights up. Images change constantly. Information keeps flowing. The brain interprets this simply: something is still happening. Attention is still required. Rest is not allowed yet. That's why your body feels exhausted, but your mind refuses to stop. Many athletes and high-level knowledge workers realized this long ago. They didn't wait until insomnia appeared. They set a clear rule, a screen curfew. Not because they hate technology, but because they understand that quality sleep begins by not sending the wrong signals to the brain. In everyday life, this pattern is so familiar, we barely notice it. You scroll for 30 more minutes before bed, nothing important. But when you put the phone down, your mind keeps running. One thought connects to another. Your body is still, but your mind never landed. What needs to change here isn't willpower, it's awareness of signals. Call it sleep. Signal. Awareness. The ability to recognize what tells your brain it's time to rest, and what whispers stay alert. Soft light. Quiet space. A slower rhythm. Familiar repetition. The brain needs these signals the way tides need the moon.
The application is simple, not elaborate. For 7 consecutive days, turn off all screens at least 30 minutes before bed. No quick checks. No, just one more. Just a short gap long enough for the brain to understand. The day has ended. You don't need to force sleep. Just allow the brain to rest. The rest will follow.
Sleep doesn't come when you command it. It comes when your nervous system feels safe. And that sense of safety doesn't appear randomly. It's created through repeated rituals. A cooling ritual doesn't need to be complicated. It's simply a familiar sequence repeated every evening that tells the brain the day is over. The ancient Stoics understood this well. They didn't end the day by consuming more information. They read, they wrote, they reflected. Not to learn more, but to close the day. No new stimulation, no new reactions, just intentional withdrawal before sleep. In modern life, this ritual is even more important. A few pages of a book, light stretching, slow deep breaths. These may sound too simple, but they do something screens never can. They slow the nervous system down, not through willpower, but through rhythm. What you need here isn't more habits, just one clean wind-down ritual, 1 or 2 fixed actions, no variation, no optimization. Repetition is what matters. The application is practical. Choose 2 screen-free activities. Repeat them every night. Keep them unchanged for 14 days. Don't evaluate results nightly. Don't expect fast outcomes. Just let the body relearn something ancient. When this happens, it's time to rest. Sleep will follow naturally. We often misunderstand discipline. We think discipline means tightening up, forcing ourselves to do hard things, resisting temptation through sheer will. That's the most exhausting version of discipline, and the most fragile. Sustainable discipline doesn't come from fighting what's wrong. It comes from making what's right easier than what's wrong. Many leaders and CEOs don't bring their phones into the bedroom, not because they have iron willpower, but because they understand something practical. Willpower is limited, environment is not. When the phone isn't there, the brain doesn't have to fight. No decisions, no reminders. Temptation doesn't disappear. It's just too far away to become a reflex. In daily life, the difference is obvious. When your phone is next to the bed, every time you wake up, your brain must choose. And constant choosing leads to fatigue. But when the phone is in another room, the brain is freed from an unnecessary battle. This is the essence of environment design. You don't need to become stronger. You just need to create a space where good behavior happens naturally. No grand resolve, no self-blame. Just a small adjustment in the right place. The application is simple. Before bed, place your phone outside the bedroom, or at least out of reach. Not as punishment, but as quiet support for yourself. Discipline, at its highest form, doesn't make you tenser. It makes you fight less. There was a time when I went to bed completely exhausted. Not the kind of tiredness from an overloaded day, but a lingering fatigue. Soft, but persistent. I still scrolled for another 30 minutes. No clear purpose, just to end the day. At the time, I didn't think it was a problem. I slept enough hours. No all-nighters. No waking up in the middle of the night. But in the morning, I always felt like I hadn't truly rested. A heavy head, slower reactions, energy arriving late in the day. I didn't make big changes. I didn't optimize more habits. I tried one small thing. 30 minutes before bed, no screens, nothing dramatic happened, no sudden clarity, no instant results. I just fell asleep faster, tossed less. And the next morning, I noticed something strange. My mind felt lighter. Not energized, just not weighed down. That's when I understood. Good sleep doesn't require more effort. It only asks that you stop doing the wrong thing at the most sensitive moment of the day. You don't need a perfect evening. You don't need more discipline. And you don't need more determination. You just need to protect the final 30 minutes of your day. When you learn to cool down at the right time, the body knows what to do. The brain slows, breathing deepens, and sleep arrives without force. No noise, no effort. Just a well-timed ending to a completed day.